And we're back on the LiberalOasis radio show, WHMP, news, information, and the arts. Hope you're recovering from Thanksgiving. One of the issues here in HMP headquarters in downtown Northampton, I don't normally talk about local issues on the show, but I think this might have some import in other towns. This is an interesting commercial downtown. It's having some tough times because of the economic recession. There's a lot of, semi-upscale shops here. The kind of shops don't always do well when people don't have as much disposable income to play with. And the hot topic in the local city council is to have an ordinance to further restrict panhandling. Now, there is a number of homeless in the downtown area. I think the number is about 377 folks seek shelter in the area per year. I know that unemployment has doubled in this county and the neighboring county from October 07 to October 08. But I've lived here for about 3 years now. I have been panhandled. I've never been aggressively panhandled. I've never been harassed. I've never been fraudulently panhandled. It's a pretty minor inconvenience at best, if you want to call it that. Certainly not something that would deter anyone from coming to the downtown if you're interested. I mean, there are shops in this town that you can't get anywhere else in a wide radius. I don't know of anyone who's ever said to me, "Gee, I really love to buy some jewelry or some furniture or go to a movie or have dinner, but I won't go because of the panhandlers." That just never happens. And no one can provide evidence that it does happen in any significant way. Yet this has become a dominant issue. An ordinance has been proposed to restrict the areas in town where panhandling can occur, which some would argue is a violation of free speech rights. But that is, and the impetus is from some business owners that this would improve business somehow. So, I could make the standard First Amendment arguments. I could make an argument about we need to be respectful of those who are impoverished and not make it harder for them to get enough food to get by in a given day. But as far as what I think is relevant not just to the local debate here, but nationally, is this going to solve the problem? Or is this trying to scapegoat someone else for a problem that's very difficult for a person on the ground to solve? You have a global economic recession that is squeezing a local business. That's not a very simple thing to overcome by yourself. But if you point the finger at someone else who's got nothing to do with the problem, that's not going to get you anywhere. That's only going to hurt somebody else. So I wonder, and I'd be interested if any of the listeners of the podcast are seeing this happening. Are you seeing that kind of scapegoating and divisiveness going on in your town? Proposals that are irrelevant to the issue at hand, occupying the time of the local civic community. And we should keep in mind now, we do have a President-elect Obama who is on the verge of a massive stimulus program. We are trying to do something to solve that problem on a national scale. So we will have more economic demands. People will have more money in their pockets. So small businesses can thrive. If you want to do something to help solve this problem, get behind that. Get that stuff done so those money and those projects and those resources get in the pipeline as soon as possible. That's going to help solve the problem. I mean, all I can tell you is that here, no one can. There's been no market research done to say there's this huge pool of people that refuse to come to the downtown because of panhandling. As far as concerns about aggressive panhandling or fraudulent panhandling are concerned, well, those things are already illegal. It's already illegal to misrepresent yourself. It's already illegal to engage in harassment. Some have complained that if there's been no serious enforcement of those laws. The police in the area are largely focused on drug interdiction, hard drugs, heroin trafficking, and the like in the region. An understandably a more important focus than a very insignificant panhandling element. But there's no proposal in commensurate with this ordinance and these new laws to beef up police presence in town. There's no talk about increasing enforcement of a new law, which I think bodes the question: is this a sincere attempt to solve an economic problem in the city, or is it a superficial attempt to appease a squeaky wheel constituency so that you can say, hey, I did something, but you're not actually solving anything? You know, we just as a nation came together. Typically, in a nationwide economic crisis, we have a lot of scapegoating and divisiveness, often on racial terms. But America did not do that this time. They made a decision that they had to put aside racial biases because the African-American candidate was so obviously a better agent of economic change than the white candidate, for no reasons that have nothing to do with skin color. So we are capable as a nation to look at a decision on the merits and make it. And so it would be very troubling to me. I mean, here we are in Northampton, a town that went 83% for Obama, to go in the opposite direction locally. But it goes to show when, economic distress can make people do funny things. So I think it's something that here in Northampton we need to be cognizant of, keep our eye on the ball of what is actually the problem and what we can do nationally to fix it. And I hope it's a warning to folks in other cities that these types of disputes, these types of arguments, these types of dynamics can remain and need to be fought against. And hopefully in your towns you can keep your eye on the ball, and let's be part of a national strategy for economic recovery and not a local strategy for scapegoating.